In the east of Zambia, deep within its wild terrain, lies the LUANGWA Valley, a region spanning over 9,000 kilometers that harbors one of Africa's oldest and most intact ecosystems. Its landscape blends arid plains, dense forests, and a river system that shrinks to a few vital water points during the dry season. Temperatures soar above 40, humidity swings dramatically, and months without rain turn the land into a harsh surface where every resource becomes crucial. Nothing occurs randomly. Each movement, behavior, and presence follows a precise logic. The natural balance is dictated by the quiet struggle for territory, water access, and survival itself. In this environment, mistakes are costly. LUANGWA operates as a finely tuned system where constant pressure forces species to adapt, anticipate, and respond. Survival belongs to those who have learned endurance under extreme conditions. Here, life prevails through strength and violence, but also through efficiency and the ability to recognize opportunities where others do not. Time is measured in decisions, and every corner reveals dynamics honed over millennia. Dawn rises over the floodplains, mist drifting from the river like a warm sigh, and two eyes break the water's surface. Motionless, a Nile crocodile waits, its ancient scaled body hidden beneath the river. Each sunrise brings a chance to feed, survive, and protect what belongs to it. The riverbed is still cool, and dawn is barely stirred by the distant hum of insects. A young impala approaches the water, alone, its legs sinking into the mud as it drinks, unaware of the danger. Beneath the surface, the crocodile has remained motionless for over an hour. Eyes and snout barely visible, body blending perfectly. Into the murky water, a faint ripple trembles across the surface, alerting the impala, but instinct and thirst compel it to stay. Then, without warning, the water erupts, a surge of scales and mud striking with brutal force. The crocodile's jaws clamp onto the impala's legs, and the animal struggles, kicking and splashing, but is pulled into the river with astonishing speed. Minutes later, .com returns, the ripples the only sign of chaos. Other impalas watch. From a distance, knowing to avoid that water, the river is still once more, and the predator has secured a feast that will sustain it for days, requiring no further hunt thanks to its remarkable metabolism. The crocodile can go without food for nearly a month due to its ability to minimize energy use while immobile, conserving reserves until the next opportunity arises. This formidable reptile can exceed 5 meters in length and weigh up to 450 kilos, making it one of the most feared and respected predators of Zambia's wild rivers, and one of the oldest, with an evolutionary line stretching back over 200 million years. Its bite is among the strongest in the animal kingdom, capable of crushing a turtle's shell effortlessly. Some individuals live between 60 and 70 years in the wild, if they survive the constant challenges of their environment. Yet during extreme droughts, when resources are scarce and survival pressures peak, an unusual phenomenon emerges between crocodiles and their deep-water neighbors, the hippopotamuses. In these conditions, with daytime temperatures surpassing 40 degrees and water becoming precious, hippos and crocodiles coexist in the same ponds without attacking each other. Such confrontations would waste energy, and brief, mutual tolerance benefits both species during the harshest months. Dozens of crocodiles and hippos, along with their young, maintain a careful distance without breaking the fragile peace. Hippos cannot remain out of water for long without their skin drying and cracking, while crocodiles cannot endure prolonged sun exposure without overheating and losing vital moisture. Trapped among the massive hippos, the crocodiles lie, watchful and silent. In this delicate truce, tension fills the pond, every motion scrutinized, for survival depends on patience, restraint, and avoiding deadly mistakes. As the sun sets, the truce dissolves, hippos return to their territories, and crocodiles resume their vigilance, transforming the pond into a silent battlefield under the moon. At dawn, new challenges arise. Heat awakens the landscape, and other predators stake their claim, testing the resilience of these ancient inhabitants. Thirsty lions cautiously approach the pond, essential both as refuge and life source. They observe the crocodiles, the true owners, moving deliberately through weeds and mud. To the crocodiles, lions are secondary intruders, their presence unsettling the balance. They recognize the danger of the lion's claws and teeth, yet their alternative water sources lie far away. The pressure increases as the lions push from the shore, attempting to drive the crocodiles toward the pond's center, but the reptiles stand firm, grouped tightly to defend their territory. Each movement is calculated, for yielding would mean losing not just space, but a vital chance to survive in this unforgiving landscape. Tension builds until the lions retreat, deeming confrontation too costly compared to the need to quench their thirst. Allowing the group to move away slowly, the pond gradually calms under the silent authority of the crocodiles, who for now maintain their territory, aware that this balance is temporary and will be tested again the next day. Amid this struggle for survival, attention focuses on a single male, distinguished by his wide jaw and scarred back, who not only vigilantly defends his territory but also prepares for a crucial moment in his life, courtship that could ensure the the continuation of his lineage. For weeks he has been courting a female, and their mating ritual is surprisingly gentle, far from aggressive. Through guttural calls and water vibrations audible to other crocodiles over 100 meters away, they engage in a careful dance, brushing, submerging, and emerging together in an ancient choreography. Once the female accepts, she seeks a secure site to lay her eggs, choosing a small mud and vegetation mound near the water, high enough to avoid flooding but close for easy access. There she digs with her hind legs, depositing 30 to 50 eggs, each the size of a tennis ball, and covers them with leaves, branches, and mud, creating a warm, humid nest essential for embryonic development. For the next 3 months, the female remains nearby, sometimes hidden, vigilantly watching for predators, opportunistic animals, or even other crocodiles that might threaten the nest. During this period, the male's role is over, leaving the responsibility to the mother. Inside each egg, tiny creatures slowly develop, their hearts nourished by the yolk, synchronized so hatching often coincides with the rainy season, when moisture softens the shell and rain stimulates the embryos. Around 80 days, the eggs begin to vibrate as the hatchlings emit high-pitched whistling calls, signaling the mother to approach and carefully remove the top layer of the nest. One by one, the young break free with the help of a specialized coronal tooth, which they soon lose, and the mother carries them gently to the water. Their true test begins there. Though ready to swim and hunt, they face constant danger from birds, snakes, and other crocodiles. Unlike most reptiles, the mother remains with them for weeks or months, guiding them with subtle sounds and teaching them to hide, recognize danger, and wait motionless with only eyes and nostrils exposed. The young learn by imitation as well, copying her hunting and sunbathing behaviors. Each moment at her side is a silent lesson in survival, requiring no words. As they grow, the bonds weaken, and each juvenile eventually sets off, some seeking smaller water bodies to avoid competition, others remaining near main rivers. Survival is rare. On average, only 1 or 2 of every 30 reach adulthood, but those that do become the river's new guardians, continuing the cycle, building nests, and teaching the next generation the secrets of the swamp, while crocodiles protect their nests and newborns cling to life. The savanna beyond teems with violence. The savanna never ceases its relentless rhythm. On the outskirts of the herd, an adult lion moves slowly, his ribs pronounced in fresh scars, marking days with hunger and deprivation. For years he shared hunts, territories, and rest with these same lions, who now avoid him. Weakness is intolerable here, and in the heart of the pride, a vulnerable body threatens the group's progress. As the afternoon heat wanes and shadows stretch across the dry grass, he attempts to rejoin, seeking the closeness once permitted. The others sense him immediately, tensing, and within seconds they strike bites sharp and fast on his sides, legs, and neck. It is not cruelty but a rule born of necessity. A sick or weak animal endangers all, hindering hunts, attracting scavengers, and spreading disease. First they deprived him of food, now they expel him with force. Alone at the territory's edge, the lion faces hyenas and the limits imposed by his wounds. Compassion offers no protection. The pride continues, leaving him to face slow death or the rare chance of survival. Even with deadly claws, teeth, and power, a single misstep, a poorly timed strike, or a misjudged hunt can mean death, and survival spares no one, not even the king of the jungle. Meanwhile, the alpha male must constantly assert his dominance within the pride, a role that balances power with respect. His presence commands attention, and clashes with rival males, though dangerous, reaffirm the hierarchy, ensuring no challenger rises. Leading up to 20 lions, he must maintain control without fostering division, blending firmness with tolerance, permitting rebellious young males or females only if they obey the rules. This tolerance is measured and temporary, as the struggle for leadership never ceases. A single mistake can end a reign. The alpha fights not just to win but to reinforce his status and sustain order. Leadership relies not only on will but on physical prowess honed over generations, a muscular build for combat, hunting, and survival, reinforced by instinct and adrenaline. His subordinates recognize his power instantly, aware that he is the strongest, his sharp teeth and courage making him a living testament to the savanna's unforgiving law. His presence alone projects power, a visual warning that deters rivals, and reinforces his dominance over the pride. The lion rules the savanna, asserting authority over hyenas and other predators alike. His strength derived not just from brute force but from instinct, vigilance, and an unwavering command of his territory. Ready to face danger at any moment, he would rather die than retreat, an attitude that secures his place at the top of the food chain and maintains the balance necessary to survive in the vast African plains. Meanwhile, in the dense forests where sunlight filters through the canopy, another feline thrives in its ideal habitat, the elusive panther. Stealthy, almost ghost-like, it has claimed the thicket as its exclusive hunting ground. Retractable claws give it an edge that hyenas and wild dogs lack, and its teeth are perfectly designed to deliver a silent, lethal bite. Fallen branches, deep shadows, and suspended vines serve as a natural shield, complemented by its jet-black fur that renders it nearly invisible at night. With night vision 6 times sharper than a human's, it can detect even the slightest movements in complete darkness. Spotting a wild boar feeding unaware, it crouches low, moving silently on padded paws, carefully measuring distance, wind, and obstacles. At less than 5 meters, it pauses, then strikes with devastating precision, its claws anchoring the prey as fangs pierce the neck, cutting off airflow in seconds. Motionless for a moment to let the forest's sound resume, the panther then drags its kill into the shadows, melting into the undergrowth as the jungle pulses endlessly around it. The next day, a wild boar navigates the tangle of damp leaves and low bushes, its wet snout sniffing out roots, fallen fruit, insects, and small vertebrates. An omnivore by nature, its dietary flexibility is its greatest survival advantage. Its compact, muscular body, armored with thick bristles, allows it to move with confidence and escape danger with sudden bursts of speed. But despite its role as prey, the boar is far from defenseless. Sharp tusks jut from its face, secondary weapons capable of delivering deep, punishing wounds to any predator daring to challenge it. From jackals to other mid-sized hunters of the forest while trying to drive it away, forcing it to retreat and abandon its attempt. The boar stands firm when evasion becomes impossible. It digs its feet into the ground and launches short, aggressive lunges using its weight, strength, and tusks. Its anatomy, shaped by constant threat, explains every detail, from the wide sensitive nose that detects roots and dangers in the wind, to the patterns on its back that mimic shadows and veins of damp earth. When the mother senses danger, she flees, and the young collapse to the ground, their dark stripes and earth tones blending into the landscape unnoticed by sharp eyes. Only when the threat fades does the female return. The search for food and shelter continues as always. Shadows and dense undergrowth form their ideal terrain, where their keen sense of smell and quick movement come into play. Soft soil hides nutritious roots, and tangled vegetation offers shelter from larger predators. Far from open spaces, the forest guarantees constant opportunities for food and hiding. This is why the wild boar has made this place its refuge and trap, adapting to every corner, risk and resource the forest provides and conceals. In the same environment, among low vegetation and dry roots, something crawls with silent precision. It is a female puff adder, as stealthy as death itself. Her body is a symphony of earth-toned patterns perfectly designed for camouflage. She does not need to run or be seen. Her presence is made to avoid conflict. Like most of her kind, she lives in a constant balance between hunting and stealth, her world woven from shadows, moisture and fallen leaves. Among tangled roots and fallen trunks, every corner can be a cradle or a grave. In this silent dance of the forest, she moves as part of a ten-scene and lethal, known as velvet for its shiny skin that seems to absorb light. She can grow over 2 meters, though most are around 1.5, and her robust, flexible body can weigh up to 6 kilograms when mature. She is a master of camouflage, her power lying in both venom and the ability to disappear into the undergrowth. Their existence follows the cycle of night. When darkness falls over the jungle, their senses awaken, guided by ground vibrations and temperature. Heat-sensing pits between eyes and nostrils detect nearby bodies. Sight is unnecessary. A slight tremor in the air tenses her muscles, followed by a lightning-fast ambush and precise bite, her venom a cocktail of death and early digestion. Yet not all her life revolves around hunting. During certain seasons, when the rains fill the forest with humidity, an ancient impulse drives her to seek a mate. Males travel long distances, following chemical trails, crossing paths marked by elephants, hiding from jackals, sometimes to meet on the same path, drawn by the same female. They do not bite each other but engage in a power struggle to knock the other off balance. The victor continues, and when the female accepts a mate, the union is brief, after which they separate. She carries the genetic legacy, choosing the precise moment to give life, retaining sperm for months until conditions are optimal for fertilization, a strategy of evolutionary wisdom. Her young must be born when prey is abundant and the forest offers shelter and opportunities. During gestation, lasting 6 to 8 months, the female reduces activity, moves little, hunts only when necessary, and slowly expands as she decides how long she can go without food. One night, deep in the forest, she gives birth, producing live young rather than laying eggs. The babies are small replicas of her, with tiny but functional fangs, active venom, and instincts encoded in their DNA. A single birth can produce up to 80 offspring, all emerging silently among the leaves without crying or assistance. Their mother does not guide or care for them. The jungle itself is their teacher from the moment they take their first breath. The valley is unforgiving, but it instructs. Each cub begins life alone in one of the oldest and deadliest environments in Africa, remaining hidden for the first days, motionless, absorbing the earth's warmth and listening to the night. Every sound and shadow imparts lessons: what to avoid, what to follow, when to attack, and when to wait. The initial weeks are critical. Some do not survive, but those who do quickly become effective hunters, drawn to small amphibians, insects, and lizards. They instinctively learn to control their breathing, blend into their surroundings, and strike at precisely the right moment, needing no models or examples, as nature has already equipped them. As they grow, their diet evolves to include larger prey such as rodents, birds, and other reptiles. Their ambushes become more accurate and deliberate each night. The puff adder's strength lies in patience, avoiding unnecessary risks. The jungle remains a constant threat, with alligators, felines, and birds of prey competing for survival. Awareness keeps her hidden among roots, under rocks, or in abandoned burrows, remaining motionless for days if necessary, until the perfect opportunity arises. Upon reaching maturity, she requires food less frequently. A single large rodent can sustain her for a week. Her slow metabolism and cold-blooded nature allow her to conserve energy, resting as the rain drums on the leaves. Muscles tense even while appearing asleep. Every shadow, vibration, and wind shift registers in her senses. She may go unnoticed, but she notices everything. Her lifespan can reach 15 years if the forest remains balanced, allowing multiple reproductive cycles that leave dozens of offspring, few surviving to adulthood. A harsh but efficient system. When night falls and moisture blankets the earth, she awakens, detecting the faint call of a frog or the vibrations of nearby prey. Patience is her power. Tonight, fortune offers a small rodent venturing from its refuge in search of fruit scraps. The snake lies motionless, barely visible in the shadows, her tongue flicking to sense the warm trail of her unsuspecting prey. The rodent pauses, sensing something, but it is too late. In a split second, the snake strikes, fangs delivering a precise dose of venom. The rodent shudders, collapsing onto the wet leaves, while she slowly swallows it from the head, then returns to the shadows, confident this single kill will last days. Beneath the murky waters of the mangrove, a baby crocodile moves, only recently hatched, beginning its life in a world of constant challenge. The young already sense danger. Larger fish, opportunistic birds, and even members of their own species pose threats. Yet the mother does not back down. At the first sign of a suspicious shadow, she dives forcefully, generating a wave that scatters potential intruders. Young respond with high-pitched squeals, and she answers in kind. It is not love, as the rest of the animal kingdom understands. It is survival. Each offspring represents another chance to continue the species. And though many will never reach adulthood, the mother ensures that some survive. High in a nearby tree, a boa constrictor observes. Less active during the day, its keen vision detects even the slightest movement. Unlike the puff adder, it has no venom, but its immense strength can suffocate any prey, from birds and rodents to bats, maintaining the ecosystem's balance. Rain begins to fall suddenly, striking leaves, soil, and the scaly back of the boa, which remains unfazed, for rain brings life. Rivers swell, fish stir, and hunting becomes easier. For the snake, water offers both refreshment and danger, requiring shelter among hollow logs or rocks to avoid being swept away. At night, the jungle transforms. Frog songs fill the air, bats hunt insects, and shadows lengthen. Expert hunters emerge. The puff adder becomes a living shadow, its forked tongue sensing vibrations and body heat. It detects approaching prey but also watches for predators while resting. Moving silently through the damp leaves of the Luangwa rainforest, it hides among branches and twisted roots where sunlight barely reaches. That night, however, it is not hunting. The air shifts. A silent disturbance passes through the undergrowth. The puff adder freezes, its thermal sensors detecting a large, slow, warm presence. A boa constrictor imperator, nearly 2.5 meters long, advancing with patient, unhurried strength. Its rippling muscles move beneath mottled skin. It seeks food, not conflict. Oblivious to the motionless predator, the boa brushes a branch, prompting the puff adder to tense. In its world, one false move can be fatal. The boa halts, sensing a bulge among the leaves. For several tense seconds, the two snakes measure each other. The puff adder does not strike. Its venom is enough, and wasting energy on a needless battle is unnecessary. The boa, recognizing easier prey elsewhere, retreats. Once the threat is past, the puff adder relaxes, gliding toward a warm rock that has retained the day's heat. In this forest, survival depends not on strength, but on knowing when to strike and when to vanish. Camouflage is their shield, silence their greatest defense. Meanwhile, in the water, the viper-like creature moves like a log toward the drifting prey, launching an explosive strike only when mere inches separate them. The attack is so sudden that the fish barely reacts, the snapping of jaws mingling with the crunch of scales, and broken bones another victory in the endless struggle for survival. Days pass and the cycle continues. Hunters today may be hunted tomorrow. From the tallest branches to the deepest mudflats, every creature serves a purpose. Crocodiles cleanse rivers of the weak or sick. preventing disease. Snakes control rodent populations and help preserve natural crops. Even the most feared animals play vital roles in LUANGWA. While the world outside changes, in the heart of this wilderness, the rules remain the same. Observe unseen, strike precisely, protect your own when necessary, and survive day after day. In the LUANGWA Valley, where heat ripples through the air and shadows stretch beneath stones, life crawls, flies, hides, and hunts. This region of Zambia, marked by extreme temperatures and prolonged drought, is one of Africa's harshest ecosystems. Every species here has been shaped by constant survival pressure. In the early hours, when light is soft and temperatures are still low, animals begin their day. Alert female impalas guide their young toward dense vegetation, where shadows offer both refuge and risk. Several meters away, a leopard rests on a sturdy branch, its gaze sweeping the clearing. It focuses on a calf separated from its mother, waiting patiently. The feline knows impatience is fatal here. The breeze carries the prey's scent, muscles remain tense, energy accumulating. The impala nibbles at leaves, unaware. The mother moves on, but the calf lingers. Slowly, the leopard descends, calculated movements punctuated by pauses when the prey's ears twitch. As the wind shifts, the prey resumes walking, and the predator slides silently to the ground. Hidden in bushes, it advances step by step, closing the distance 10 meters. 8, 5. The impala senses danger, head raised, body tense, but it is too late. In a flash, the leopard strikes. Grass stirs, birds take flight, the calf leaps, and a sharp neck blow ends the chase. The predator drags its prize into the undergrowth as calm returns to the clearing. Not all hunters here roar or bare fangs. Some kill silently with venom. Beneath sun-exposed rocks, the thick-tailed scorpion waits. Measuring only 10 centimeters, its sting is deadly. Most active at night when temperatures drop, it remains hidden during the day, using shade to avoid dehydration and predators. Its pale yellow body blends seamlessly with the dusty ground. It moves meticulously, using sensitive leg hairs to detect vibrations, locating prey even beneath the surface. Its hunting depends on touch and sensory precision, not sight. A testament to survival in this unforgiving land, it glides slowly, pausing to listen and capture the slightest vibration in the sand, tracking invisible prey that moves in cautious avoidance of its stealthy ambush. Every night, this tiny arachnid repeats a ritual honed over generations, moving among desert rocks with specialized structures called pectins, which function as exquisitely precise motion sensors capable of detecting prey that shifts only a few millimeters. The environment is hostile, temperatures soar, and every movement carries risk. In this unforgiving landscape, the Ruthless, one of the most venomous scorpions in the world, has perfected a patient, meticulous hunting strategy. It does not chase, it does not actively stalk. It pauses, observes, and interprets the subtlest tremors in the sand or vibrations in the rock, calculating the exact moment to strike with instinctive precision. When prey enters its range, there is no struggle, only a swift, controlled movement. As the stinger, curved along its back, descends like a scalpel, the neurotoxic venom paralyzes the prey instantly, muscles locked before it can react. The sand falls silent once more as the predator retreats with its catch, repeating a ritual that has persisted night after night for millennia. The venom serves more than to kill. It internally decomposes the victim's tissues, turning organs and muscles into a semi-liquid mixture easily ingested, maximizing nutrient absorption while conserving energy. This is a hunting technique honed over millions of years, each motion purposeful, efficient, and waste-free. But survival here is not solely about hunting. In the warmer months, the female follows a biological imperative that has sustained her species for eons: mating. The male approaches with extreme caution, aware that any misstep could trigger a lethal attack. Scorpion courtship is a precise dance of calculated movements, touching with pincers, exchanging chemical signals, and navigating a sequence of behaviors evolved to minimize risk. Danger is ever present. Mating can quickly turn predator into prey if the female perceives a threat or rejects him. Only the fittest males succeed, ensuring that offspring inherit the strongest traits. After a successful mating and a gestation period that varies with species and environment, the female can give birth to up to 50 small, fragile, unpigmented offspring. For their first weeks, survival depends entirely on the mother, who carries them on her back, shielding them from predators in harsh conditions. During this time, they do not hunt but absorb nutrients from their bodies while she occasionally ventures out to sustain them, balancing the relentless demands of life in the extreme desert. In search of food, she knows that even the slightest scent can attract enemies, so she moves cautiously, assessing every motion. Her tough exoskeleton serves as her only protection, both for herself and the young that follow her, but this shield is temporary. Once the young undergo their first molt, their appearance changes, becoming more mobile, developing a partial exoskeleton, and showing independent behaviors. This stage marks a shift in her relationship with them. She no longer sees them as offspring but as potential competitors for space and resources. The evolutionary strategy of this small creature is clear: maximize reproductive success and enforce independence. Prolonged dependence is a risk, and if the young do not leave, she eliminates them as efficiently as she does her prey. Meanwhile, elsewhere in Luangwa, among the twisted branches of a thorny tree, another colony thrives. They do not crawl but butts. These African black wasps of the genus Polist, known for their advanced social behavior and intricate nest building. Unlike ground-dwelling insects, their nest hangs high above, a hardened sphere of chewed plant fibers and saliva, both delicate in appearance and surprisingly durable. The colony, composed of dozens or even hundreds of individuals, operates with precision, each member fulfilling a specific role. Workers defend, forage, and maintain the nest, while others care for the young, ensuring the larvae are constantly fed. The queen, distinguished by her size and behavior, remains inside to maintain genetic continuity. Every morning, groups of workers leave on low flights to search for food, scanning the ground for caterpillars, larvae, or spiders. Unlike bees, they hunt, using their sting to paralyze prey before cutting it into manageable pieces. Learning is part of the process, and younger workers occasionally miscalculate, attacking beyond their capability or becoming prey themselves. Yet these losses are integral to the colony's life cycle. Over time, survivors become more efficient, transmitting information about hunting routes, prey locations, and external conditions through chemical signals and coordinated behavior, eliminating the need for a visible leader. Hunting missions are purposeful, optimized through trial and error, and every return to the nest is meticulous, with prey processed and offered to the larvae while adults feed on nectar collected along the way. Their true power lies not in venom but in numbers. A single wasp cannot defend the colony, but when a threat arises, an imperceptible chemical signal triggers a rapid, coordinated response, with dozens or hundreds of workers attacking in unison. There is no hesitation, no retreat, and each strike contributes to a collective defense capable of deterring or eliminating the danger. At the center of this biological system is the queen, hidden deep within the nest, whose role is neither to fight nor to forage. Her sole purpose is to ensure the reproduction of the colony, laying over 300 eggs in her lifetime. Her environment is meticulously maintained by workers who regulate temperature, cleanliness, and feeding with precise efficiency. The hierarchy is strict, and each individual fulfills its role without deviation. For in this microcosm, mistakes have no place. Yet in Luangwa, balance can shatter at any moment. On a moonless night, conflict stirs as a Parabus transvalicus rests under a hot rock, its body adapted for ambush and equipped with ultra-sensitive sensors to detect minimal vibrations. Nearby, a young wasp ventures beyond the nest perimeter on its first reconnaissance, flying to low. The scorpion strikes with lethal precision, and the wasp falls, paralyzed, yet even in agony it counterattacks, piercing the airpod's exoskeleton. Both venoms act swiftly. The wasp's nervous system collapses, and the scorpion begins to show muscle paralysis. There are no spectators, no glory, just two motionless bodies on dry ground, casualties of an unplanned battle in Luangwa survival. It is not always about victory, sometimes merely enduring another day. In the distance, a female jackal leads her 3 cubs on their first night patrol, teaching them to detect tracks, distinguish fresh scents, and move carefully through terrain where every sound can mean life or death. The goal is to learn, not to hunt. Meanwhile, a lizard navigates the aftermath of a recent confrontation, consuming a defenseless wasp in seconds before retreating from a still-living scorpion, calculating risk to survive. The injured scorpion crawls towards shade, struggling for shelter, energy, and safety from scavengers or the valley's harsh nocturnal changes. Elsewhere, a wasp colony faces its own crisis. Food shortages threaten the youngest larvae after a storm has hampered hunting, leaving many workers unreturned. The survivors ration resources, prioritizing offspring with the highest potential in a harsh but necessary selection. As gusts shake the nest violently, workers instinctively form a protective barrier over the larvae, enduring or falling without visible leadership. When dawn breaks over the LUANGWA gradually returns, the nest is damaged but intact. Some larvae have survived, and the colony, weakened yet resilient, still has a chance to continue. In Luangwa, strength alone is not reward. It's persistence, adaptation, and the ability to endure that determines survival. Night fades, and warmth quickly returns, bringing life back to the ground dwellers. Morning moisture draws tiny insects, followed closely by their predators. Beneath a rock still warmed by the previous day, one of the desert's hardiest arachnids stirs the yellow scorpion of North Africa. This adult female is not alone. A dozen newborn pups cling to her exoskeleton, entirely dependent on her for their first days. One juvenile briefly descends, exploring with its sensory feet, but the movement of a nearby millipede forces it to retreat, a reminder that carelessness can be fatal at this stage. The mother remains alert yet still, conserving energy while her yellowish tone blends seamlessly with the ground, offering camouflage from predators and concealment from prey. Last night's scarcity limited hunting opportunities, and although daylight brings only modest chances, her energy needs remain urgent. Her slow metabolism allows survival on little food, but caring for her young demands more. She hunts with immobility, positioning herself where insects are frequent, relying on leg sensors to detect vibrations. She does not chase but waits, a strategy well suited for an environment where wasted energy can be deadly. A cricket passes unaware, and in less than a second, the scorpion seizes it, plunging her sting into its nervous system. The neurotoxin immediately halts the cricket, and its body begins to liquefy as she feeds. Meanwhile, further north, a black wasp patrol activates at first light, emerging in precise response to light and temperature cycles. Each worker knows its role, following memorized flight paths and structured search patterns. Today's hunting day focused on animal protein rather than nectar. Workers scour cracks in trunks, shrub bases, and hidden leaf sections, seeking larvae, small arthropods or vulnerable wasps. Upon locating prey, a worker stings to immobilize, tears it apart with mandibles, stores portions for the larvae, and consumes some en route for immediate energy. The constant flow of activity maintains the colony. Despite significant night damage, wings, missing legs, and worn mandibles tasks continue uninterrupted, with each worker contributing to a resilient collective system. During warmer months, an active colony can host 100 to 300 individuals engaged in foraging, defense, and nest maintenance, all functioning under a clear hierarchy that ensures survival and efficiency. The colony operates under strict hierarchy, with no room for individual decision-making. Everything is guided by pheromones, physical contact, and spatial memory. Nest regeneration is already underway. While some workers hunt, others repair damaged cells, reinforcing structures with chewed plant fibers transformed into a paper-like pulp. These tasks require no verbal communication or supervision. It is biologically programmed. Structurally, the nest functions as a closed biological factory, maintaining stable internal temperatures through the activity of its inhabitants and the design of the habitat. At the center is the queen, the only truly indispensable member, hidden deep within, whose sole function is to lay eggs. Beneath the cracked, dry earth, centipedes, termites, and beetles move through tunnels, avoiding the heat, while black wasps track their activity through smell and vibrations, remaining motionless or digging along chemical trails to locate prey. Every hunting opportunity counts. The wasp must paralyze, deposit an egg, and seal its chamber to ensure reproduction. On the surface, the heat peaks above 40 degrees Celsius. The aeropod that emerged at dawn now retreats to its rocky refuge. Its young cling to its back, exploring briefly but returning, not yet ready to face outside dangers. Several molts over weeks or months will grant independence. In nearby trees, insectivorous birds monitor the air, striking with lightning speed, to catch an unsuspecting worker wasp, leaving the colony on alert but unharmed. By afternoon, a scorpion molts, rubbing against a stone as its old layer separates, leaving it soft, vulnerable, and exposed for an hour while its young disperse instinctively. Survival dictates every action. Once hardened, the mother consuming any prey in sight with no sentimentality. Every gram of protein is vital. A few meters away, another cycle begins in a black wasp nest. The social structure reorganizes as males emerge for the first time, unproductive and unarmed, their only role to fertilize the next generation, completing the relentless rhythm of life in LUANGWA. Once their reproductive task is complete, most queens become irrelevant, often expelled or eliminated by the workers. Future queens, however, remain inside, feeding and building reserves, waiting until their bodies are ready for the arduous journey of founding a new colony. When the time comes, they venture out, seeking a crevice, a patch of bark, or a secure branch to start another empire from scratch. As night falls and temperatures drop, a new dynamic emerges. Nocturnal species become active. On the ground, a column of soldier ants advances in a straight line, not scouting, but attacking. They hunt collectively, identifying a target and moving relentlessly until it is destroyed. Tonight their target is the wasp nest, but experience from past encounters has prepared the colony. The workers detect the ants scent immediately, lining the nest entrance with stings exposed. The clash is violent and brief. Several ants fall before crossing the threshold. A few enter but never return. The cost is high. 3 wasps die, one dragged away to prevent attracting predators. Once the threat is neutralized, calm returns. Nearby, the scorpion resumes its routine, hunting a beetle with precision. Its young, now observing critically, are at a stage of behavioral imprinting, learning hunting and defensive patterns they will soon use independently, though many will not survive to adulthood. On the riverbank, a new wasp colony begins. A queen selects a shaded, ventilated site, mixes plant fibers with saliva to form cellulose, builds her first cell, and lays eggs. In a few days, the first workers will hatch and nest expansion will start. Night represents rest for some species and opportunity for others. The aeropod moves with precision through the undergrowth, detecting vibrations while the wasp remains motionless in its nest. Each has survived countless challenges. Their survival is not due to strength, speed, or appearance, but adaptability, and the genetic memory passed down through generations. Luangwa does not reward ferocity or beauty. Only those who understand its relentless rhythm endure, day after day, bite after bite. Those who survive do not celebrate, they simply continue.